Yeah, so we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna go all over the place. We're gonna go down the rabbit hole, and we're gonna have a lot of information this time. So if you can handle that, then I think we can do something really cool here, because I got a lot of different angles to come at this, how to free the mind from, and we're going to take a look, of course, at what Swedenborg had to say, but not just him. We're going to find out how does stuff converge, and is everybody's little pieces of the puzzle pointing to the same thing. All right, so first we want to take a peek at the nature of freedom and the nature of the mind, the source of thoughts and feelings. Freedom, we want to look at the way that what you would call evil takes away freedom. Now, there's sort of two facets to the evil phenomenon. One is the negativity we receive in our own minds, from our own minds. You know, people get beaten down and by their own thoughts and feelings. They get harassed constantly. People can be very broken just by the messages they assemble inside themselves or that they perceive. That's sort of one side of it. Then the other side, which I'll do with my other hand, is that where we are doing harmful things that cause harm to other people and end up harming our life. And we're going to kind of see where these two sides intersect. We want to start with looking at how freedom, you can sort of feel free when there is evil or negative behavior present, but that actually many traditions realize that this is actually the opposite of freedom, even if it can feel at times like you're free. So we're going to pull up a couple quotes that we got just looking around in some of the major religious texts in the world. From Islam, "O men, God's promise is true, so let not the present life delude you, and let not the deluder delude you. Surely Satan is an enemy to you, so take him for an enemy." From Buddhism, "When a man grasps at things, Mara, the evil spirit, stands beside him." Sikhism, "All vices are like chains thrown around the neck." Christianity, Jesus answered them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin." So you have all of these traditions and all these powerful teachings and teachers saying, hey man, this stuff is dragging you down, right? So we're going to take a little bit of a look into the nature of this negativity or this evil and into the ways that we can free ourselves from it. So let's get into Swedenborg a little bit here. Secrets of Heaven, 892. He's talking about freedom and internal slavery. Once someone has been regenerated, and that's the process of spiritual growth, it's going from being self-centered and mean to outward focused and loving, in brief. Once someone has been regenerated, he enters for the first time into a state of freedom. Previously, he has been in a state of slavery. It is slavery when evil desires and falsities predominate, freedom when affections for good and truth do so. As long as he is in a state of slavery, a person never perceives what his situation is. Only when he enters a state of freedom does he start to do so. When he is in a state of slavery, that is, when evil desires and falsities predominate, the person who has become subject to them imagines that he is in a state of freedom. While anyone is being led on by any kind of love, and Swedenborg uses the term love to describe both positive and negative attraction, by any kind of love and following wherever it leads, he imagines that he is free. It is, however, the devilish spirits. Okay, weird alarm. We're talking about devilish spirits affecting our thoughts and feelings, and it's only going to go farther from here, so get ready. It is, however, the devilish spirits in whose company and, so to speak, fast-moving stream he is caught who carry him away. No one ever enters into a state of freedom until he has been regenerated and is being led by the Lord by means of the love of good and truth. When he has entered that state, he is enabled to know and perceive for the first time what freedom really is, because he can at that point know and perceive what life is, while the true delight in life is, or what the true delight in life is, and what happiness is. So it can feel like when we're being pulled along by negative things, by egocentric things, selfish things, it can feel like this is great, but actually we're completely being dictated to by those thoughts and feelings. That those desires can yank us all over the place, and it can be destroying our life, but we feel like we're just following what we want because it feels good at the time, or because it's coming from what appears to be internally. So this is the first little piece. We have three pieces we want to set up here before we start to get into the how-to section of the show. So that was the first one. The second one comes again from Swedenborg's Secrets of Heaven, but skip forward about 5,800 numbers. It's long. So this is Swedenborg talking about his personal experience with evil spirits interacting inside him. And this is a major theme in Swedenborg's works, and it's one we're going to touch on a lot today. And I know I'm doing a lot of these tangents, but Swedenborg became able to perceive the operation of the spiritual world on him. And he was very shocked by what he found, that he couldn't believe the amount of influence we get from the spiritual world. He's describing some here. I've often noticed that evil spirits invest themselves in particular with a person's false notions and evil desires, and that when they do, they control him in a despotic way. For one who gets inside a person's evil desires and false notions makes him subject to himself and turns him into his slave. So again, this idea of being enslaved to evil thoughts and feelings. But an influx coming through angels adjusts itself to the person's affections, which they guide gently, turning those affections toward what is good without breaking them. The actual influx of them is silent, barely perceptible, for it is an influx into the person's interiors, always operating through his freedom. So here you have the angel and the devil on the shoulders. In Swedenborg's case, the devil, the dark side behind, the light side in front. And hell is trying to enslave minds, enslave people, and heaven is trying to let people be free. Even though it doesn't always feel like that, it's the whole situation of the mind. As we all know, just from having a mind, you know it's confusing. What are all these thoughts? What are all these feelings? What can I trust? What's leading me in a good direction? And the sort of the spiritual, we said in the beginning, we're going to take a look at causes. Swedenborg, and we said that everybody agrees there's this clash of mental phenomena. Swedenborg says there is this spiritual reality underpinning the whole thing. And we're going to look at the validity of that. How does that fit with the mind that we know? And so he's saying that there is this effort to control from the negative, and effort to protect and lead in freedom from the positive, even if we can't always sort it out.